Well, hello, folks. How are ya? Long time no talk to you. I've had some health issues and slowed me down, and also my good friend Dwayne Weiss has had his share of problems, and we haven't been able to do any shows. So here's a special shout out to my pal Dwayne. Hey, get well quick, buddy. I hope everything's going okay with you, and we're behind you, bud. However, in the meantime, we have a young gentleman who thinks he'd like to try this sort of stuff. I think youth is a good thing to have.
It is, right.
And so my friend Ed Hemway now has joined us. Ed is well known to many of you as the former owner and operator of Norfolk Hardware, which is just over there. And I'm sure you all were cheated by him. I'm served by him.
Hey, we did good, don't worry.
And you did that for
45 years.
I was going to say, I know for 45 years.
Then I hit 80 and I said, well, maybe it's time to do something else with the few years I have left.
Good. I'm not sure this is a step up, however.
Hey, it's better than sitting home falling asleep.
Well, so we have some odd ways of starting the show, but the way we've been starting it lately has been either or. So here's a choice. You can be either bald or extremely hairy.
Well, that's an easy one. Hairy, I guess.
Okay.
As you can see.
Text or call?
Call.
Plan your life ahead of time or be spontaneous?
I would say plan ahead of time.
Learn to drive a boat or fly a plane?
Fly a plane.
Give up pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Hold a tarantula or a snake?
I would say a tarantula.
Eat the same breakfast or have the same dinner every night? Same breakfast every morning or
No.
the same breakfast at night?
No.
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 No? Okay, so you got to pick one.
So either have the same
Yep.
breakfast every day or the same dinner.
Yeah.
I would say same breakfast.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, good.
Yeah. I mean, really, scrambled eggs and
That's simple.
bacon
right.
or ham or something.
Or cereal
yeah.
or whatever, or pancakes.
Yep.
Yep.
But it's got to be the same thing every morning.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, now this one here, every single person that's going to answer this question is going to lie about this. Marry for love or lots and lots of money?
I'd say love.
You have to say that.
Yeah,
You're right. Well, all right, you passed the first test, man.
Oh, good.
Okay, so in order to introduce you and give you some background, let you talk a little bit about yourself, I did this 25 test quite a few years ago. How many things can you write about yourself? Write 25 things about you. And people would get hung up on this. And it was like a little bit of a craze. I think it was high schoolers or college kids. And I said, how can this be hard? So I did this, and I got up to 58, and I said, well, that's it, I quit.
Good.
But what I've done, I've used this a couple of times, and it gives it a little bit of a background on me working and marriage and kids and all that. But I'll skip that and get to 58 things about me in no particular order. Okay? And you can chime in on every one of these and say anything you want to say.
Okay.
The most important things in my life are Jesus Christ, my wife, family, and my Catholic faith. Marrying Susie was the best thing I've ever done, the happiest day of my life. I have an irrational fear of drowning.
I do too. And I also love my wife, and 54 years of marriage, and it's great. And, and the first thing I think of when I wake up, you have a lot of good ones, that I won the lottery because I was born in this country.
Yeah.
And I won the lottery because I married the woman I did. And that's the two most important things.
Have you ever thought about how did this happen? How was I born in New England?
Right.
This all is amazing to me.
Well, the thing is, there's so many twists and turns in life, and the path taken, least taken.
Yeah.
And every one of these things I had to come up against and either go this way or that way would have completely changed my life.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm so glad that most all of them went the right way. And if I diverted to another lane, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd be.
Where were you born?
Natick.
Natick.
Yeah.
I think I knew that.
Yeah, Natick High School I went to also.
And you found your way in Norfolk?
Yeah, I did after a long time. I was looking, we got married in 1970, and I wanted a house around, because I'm from Natick, but my parents moved to Millis, and I lived with them for a short period of time before I got married. So I like the area. It's rural. I don't like a lot of lights, traffic lights and rotaries and all that stuff. And we were looking around, and I really didn't see anything. And then about 7 or 8 months after we got married, we lived in Norwood at Windsor Gardens at the time. And, our lease was going to come up in a couple months, so I wanted to find a house. So, I got in touch with a real estate agent in Medway, and he said, well, I told him what I wanted. And he says, well, I might have something you'd be interested in. So he drives me down Medway Street. We go in the driveway, and my eyes lit up, and it was exactly where and the type of house I wanted. And the rest is history.
It wasn't a tough decision at all.
No, it wasn't. No, that's, yeah.
And the wife just sat there and said, oh, Eddie, you're wonderful.
She was back in Norwood with my 1-year-old son, so she had plenty on her hands. But I brought her back later just so she'd see it and think what she thought of it.
So that's great. That's great. And then you bought, did you create?
The hardware store,
hardware?
I started from, it was an empty building.
Yeah, I remember that. It was Gilmore's used to be there.
Used to be there, then B&E Plumbing bought it from Gilmore's, and they were there for a few years, and then they built this, it's a shopping center or whatever you want, little center here, and that old building was B&E's place. They had their warehouse there with their their inventory, and they operated on that. But when he built this one, he decided to move his office over here, and in the back of this building was where he put his pipes and all. And so that was available. So I always wanted to start a small business. I mean, I worked in the corporate world for 10 years after college. But I always, even when I was a teenager, wanted to have a small business, because my father, my grandfather, my great had some very small businesses. So that became open, and I was working, I think, at the First National Bank of Boston at the time. And it came open, and my neighbor, who's Jerry Burke, you probably knew
Yeah.
Jerry Burke, he said, this building's open. You think you might want to do something? I told him about a hardware store, because there wasn't one. And I looked at it, and I started. But the thing was, the only thing I knew about hardware at the time, I knew what a hammer and a screwdriver was. Other than that, I didn't know anything.
And you could spell hardware.
And I could spell hardware,
So you really, really and truly created this from the ground
yeah,
up.
there was an empty building there.
Wow.
And there was a guy that didn't know much about what I knew business, business I was good at, inventory and overhead and cash flow and all. So I was good at that. So there's a few times I could have went bankrupt over the years, the first 10 years I started, but I made some decisions and changed them and everything, because there was only like 3,500 people in Norfolk at the time, which isn't big. So, it was all mostly farmland and farmers and all that stuff. So it was tough to start, but after we hit 5 years, then Norfolk became famous. Had a train station, and people liked this area. So they moved out from the city and over, and it went crazy for the next 20 years.
Yeah, it's still going crazy.
Yeah, it's still going crazy.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it. A bit of trivia for you folks. The train station Ed mentioned that we have here in Norfolk, that's not the original train station.
it isn't.
The original train station was down at Highland Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where they used to stop, and then they'd roll right through to Franklin.
Right.
I once went 5 years without balancing my checkbook.
Well, my wife does it now, but I used to keep up with it most of the time. And then when I get busy with the store and other things, and she's good at that, stuff like that. So she does it now, and she's pretty good at it.
My wife,
Your wife does the same, I'm
same
sure.
thing.
Yeah,
same
yeah.
thing. She went to school, took some accounting courses,
Yeah.
and she said, "Give me a checkbook."
Yeah.
And that was the last I ever saw of us.
Yeah, because if I was off $50 or $100, it's all right. It'll come out in the wash eventually. No, you gotta go right to the penny.
Find
All right,
out.
then you do it.
Oh man. The most beautiful sight I've ever seen was a sunrise in Berchtesgaden in the German Alps. It was like dark on the ground, and yet the sun was hitting the snow on top of the mountains.
Yeah, that must
It
have
was
been beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I cannot start a day without 3 cups of coffee.
Well, I do one, but
One.
three's good.
Three's good.
keeps you rolling. You seem pretty active.
Keeps
so.
you running. My favorite meals are Cajun cooking. Shrimp etouffee or Creole stew. I'm telling you, folks, if you ever get the chance to go to New Orleans,
Yeah, I went
Go.
there once. Yeah.
just for the food.
Yeah.
It is terrific. And by the way, you can get excellent Cajun cooking over in Houston.
Yeah, they have it down the south.
Yep.
Yeah, I like fish. I'd eat fish
Me
every
too,
day.
yeah.
Especially salmon.
Yeah. Oh, salmon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had salmon stew when I went to Alaska. We took a vacation up there. It was unbelievable, and we had it in a couple places. I wish somebody around here would make it, because you'd fall in love with it. It was fantastic. I never tasted anything like that in my life. Yeah.
The biggest fish I ever caught are a 42-pound cod, a 28-pound haddock, a 6-pound striped bass, a 5-pound freshwater eel, and a 29-inch pickerel. The last 2 in Norfolk. I also caught many large snapping turtles, 31 pounds being the biggest.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, I fished when I was a kid. My father would take me, we'd go to a pond in Natick somewhere. But I got bored because you never caught anything. And if you did, you got those, what they call them, kivers?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like
Sunfish,
2 inches
yeah.
long. And,
Yeah.
And after a while, I said, I'm not catching anything, and it's boring. And
Yeah.
I never went back at it. My grandfather bought me was it my grandfather? My father-in-law bought my kids fishing rods,
Mm-hmm.
and I took them a couple of times, and the same thing, they got bored. But if you catch something, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, Ted Williams was a great fisherman.
Oh,
He's in the
was he?
Fisherman's Hall of Fame for casting.
Yeah,
So he has 2 Hall of Fames.
that's right.
And he was unbelievable. He was fantastic.
I'm surprised you didn't, while you were sitting there with Dad, I'm surprised you didn't say, look, this really stinks. Can we buy a 6-pack and go in the woods?
Well, this is when I was like 12, 13, 14. That's what, it wasn't when I was drinking age. So that wouldn't have been a good idea.
I really liked peanut butter.
Oh, that's my favorite. Peanut butter and jelly. Oh, God, yeah.
I like dragonflies, praying mantises, and spiders.
I don't like any of those.
You don't like any of
And my
those?
wife would go haywire if she saw one. We got a bug, come and kill it. I
know.
don't like bugs.
I know. There's a lot of similarity between a lot of wives, I'll tell you. Get in here and get this damn spider out of the bathtub.
Yeah, she panics.
I have never run the marathon, nor have I ever watched it, or have I ever watched it on TV, or have I ever read anything about it.
Well, I don't. The marathon's great. My daughter ran it 3 times. Once was during the bombing, and that was an experience for all of us.
Yeah.
My son, I think, ran it twice, but my daughter ran it during the bombing, and we were in like the where BU is almost. They're coming up. That's what is it Commonwealth. And we saw her there, and we waved and everything. And so then we went to go to where her group, because she was running for a cancer group at the hotel, the big one in Boston there. I forget the name of it. So we're supposed to meet her there, right? So we're on the train, the MTA, coming from where they were, near Fenway Park. And, and then all of a sudden we get to our stop, and the train stops, and there's guys coming and say, get off the train, quickly, get off the train. What the hell's going on? Yeah. We're off the train. We were going to get off anyway. So everybody's running up the stairs. No one knows what's going on. Get off the train. So we got off, and then we got into the hotel. And, there's a room they had for all the runners, so we were going up there. And then we heard there was a bombing. And, where's our daughter? Was she involved in that or near it?
Did she start it?
Did she what?
Did she start the bombing?
No, well, no.
Okay, you're worried about that.
So, we were worried. Where is she? And, you're hearing stories, people coming in, this and that. And so we were getting worried because we didn't hear from her. So then we got a call, and she called us, and she said, we were coming up to where the bombing was, but they told us to detour quickly so we wouldn't go into that area, so we had to go around. And she said, a couple ladies, saw me, and they said, would you like to call someone? I have a cell phone. So she called us and said, I'm there, and I'll be there in a little while. So it was a scary experience, but
wow.
Yeah, she ran it 3 times. She did pretty good.
Good.
It was very scary.
Good. Cranes aren't particularly active along those lines.
Yeah, well, I'm not either. I mean, I used to go when I was in Natick, because we would go right through the center of town. So we'd go from my grandmother's house, which was like a 10-minute walk, right to the center and watch them. And, you watch them and you wave at them and all that stuff.
Yeah.
after that, I sort
And
of.
it's over in 10 seconds.
Yeah, right. Yeah, unless
And
you want to
say,
wait for the
how many
last guy.
miles away did I park the car? Ay.
Yeah. No, I wasn't really interested in it.
Oh. I have never taken drugs nor smoked pot.
I never have either.
Yeah, we're probably the only two in Massachusetts.
Because I don't need it, because just getting out of bed, I get high. Just getting out of bed. I said, this is great, you know,
Yeah.
I'm up, and I don't need that stuff.
Oh,
But
I have to drag myself out of bed.
What time you go to bed, late or early?
It's different.
Really?
If the Red Sox are on and
yeah.
they're playing out in the West Coast, I'll stay up till midnight watching that.
Yeah.
If there's no games on TV, I'll say, well, hell with that. I'll go to bed at 9 o'clock
Yeah.
and I'll read.
Okay.
And I'm a big reader. I think I got something in here
Yeah,
about that.
okay.
But reading to me opens the door to knowledge. And anybody that doesn't read, I don't understand it.
Yeah. Well, I was never really a reader, even when I was young, because in those days your parents never tried to force you to read. Nowadays, my two kids, as soon as the kid was 1 or 2 years old, they had a book in front of them, and they all did well. You know, 3 of them went to Boston Latin, one's still there, and the other 2 are very smart. But I wasn't very good, and I was good in school, but I wasn't good in reading, because I never really. The trouble with reading with me is I couldn't sit down long enough to read. The only couple books I read one about Ted Williams, because I liked him. He was my hero. Him and Bobby Dorr and Pesky and Dom DiMaggio. There's a book.
Yep.
And it was very interesting. If it's something about someone that I'm interested in, I'll read it, but I don't read for just enjoyment. That's the thing in life I wish I had done more of, because I
went to a yard sale, not a book sale, at a library not long ago, and picked up a biography, kind of semi-biography of Ted Williams.
Oh, yeah.
I had never seen it before.
Yeah.
I'll be very happy to loan it to you.
Yeah,
It's in perfect condition.
Yeah.
I like going to
Book sales
libraries
Yeah.
and the book sales.
Yeah,
I mean, you can buy all kinds of books for 50 cents.
Yeah. No, I wish that's the one thing in life I wish I was better at, and I did when I was younger, is read. But I didn't do it. It's just, I never had an interest in just reading in general. My parents never forced it on us, because that was back in the, 40s and stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big thing then for kids. But I did good in high school. I was on the honor society, and I was good at other things. Reading, I just didn't do.
Yeah.
But that's life. Not everybody's the same. So
Yeah. Well,
I wish I was more like you, because I wouldn't bore myself now in my retirement. What am I going to do? Oh, I could read a book. Oh, that's
There you
good.
go.
I'll read a book.
My grandfather was probably one of the biggest influences in my life. He taught me to read the alphabet, numbers, and everything when I was 4 years old.
Well, that's great. That's the way it should be done.
And I could do all that in the first grade
Yeah.
when I went
Oh,
to
that was
school.
good. Yeah.
And so the first grade for me was just sit there.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do all that.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, well, when I was in school, like the first, they had, they separate the kids into the good readers, average readers, and the low readers. And I was always in the average,
Yeah.
because I never really read that much. I wasn't that bad, but it's just, it wasn't my thing at that. Numbers, I was always good at numbers, whatever it was. But that's how people are. Everyone's different.
There you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. My friend Stan Machowski warned me not to buy Japanese products, explaining to me that they had dropped bombs on his father and his uncle during World War II. It's only recently that I've agreed to go to Japanese steakhouses. However, I stay on high alert when I'm there.
Well, you remember Stan Collins?
Yeah.
Well, he was in the war, right?
Yep.
And he'd come into my store and he'd look at he was going to buy something. Oh, that's made in Japan. He'd put it down. He was the same. He'd never buy anything Japanese, and he didn't like anything Japanese.
Yep.
And there were people like that,
Yeah.
especially the ones in the war, that experienced it, and that's
Yeah.
the way they were in those days.
Yep. And I remember that well.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. And I remember well, too, as you do, I'm sure. Oh, eat your supper. Our boys overseas are over there. They're probably hungry, and they wish they had a meal like you had, and all that.
Yeah.
Remember, everybody had a garden out back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
They grew fruit and vegetables and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Fruit, I
right.
know fruit. Yeah. But
yeah.
yeah, we'll have to talk a lot about that someday. The wartime.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Was
yeah.
something.
Yeah. No, I know.
The day of my dad's funeral, for the first time, I felt very much alone. It sunk in on me. I didn't have Dad to go to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to 47 of the 48 contiguous states, missing only South Dakota. And there wasn't any business there, that's why.
Well, there's the presidents there. We went on a trip about 10 years ago, bus trip, national parks. We started in South Dakota and went across and down the Yellowstone and 5 or 6, 4 I think in Utah. And beautiful there, I'm telling you. And if it wasn't for the winter, I think I'd move out there in a flash. The people are fantastic. You know, the waitresses, there'd be college girls. They're so nice and everything. Everybody was fantastic. The people were great, and the country's beautiful out there.
Yep.
But the winters, 6 months of the year.
Yeah, I mean, when that stuff comes whistling down from Western Canada, I mean, you're dead.
Well, the funny thing, we got back from the tour, I think it was the last week in August or the first week of September. And right after that, they had a big blizzard out there. And we wouldn't have, if we were out there a week later or 2 weeks, we would have got stuck in that blizzard. So that shows you right from September.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'd move there in a flash. It's great.
I was very fortunate, being in sales, management too. I got to travel.
Yeah, that's great.
Just the last 20 years, I guess, 25 years of my working, 20 years anyway, I was on the road all the time. I would guess 60, 70% of my time.
Wow.
I was on the road. And I got to go to every state except, as I said, South Dakota. But I went to North Dakota, so in Montana. But they're all the same out there. But I found that while people may be different, people are inherently good.
Yeah, they are. I think so.
And I had a lot of good experiences. I met characters that you wouldn't believe. I stopped in Iuka, Mississippi, which is right up at the top of Mississippi.
Is it near the river?
No.
More inland?
More inland.
Yeah.
And I needed gas. So I pulled into this gas station, and I got out, and I looked at the gas pumps, and they were the old-fashioned kind, the kind you'd go, whoop, and they'd reset, and you'd pick it up. And so the guy looks out at me, and he says, "Well, pump it yourself." I said, "Okay." So I filled it up. Now, this is beautiful. I go in to pay, and he said, "Wait a minute. $12.41.
What was that he picked
The
up?
binoculars. So I said, okay, great. You don't happen to have a can of Coke or Pepsi, do you, that I could buy? No, don't sell that. But he reaches down below, pulls out a bottle of whiskey. 2 glasses. Brrr, brrr. He said, bottoms up. Finished mine. He goes, had another one. He says, I can tell by you talking you're a damn Yankee. I said, yep, Massachusetts. And of course, down there, just to aggravate you, they call it Massachusetts. Massachusetts. He says, I'm going to give you another drink. He says, because I know what you must think, that we're all a bunch of damn fools down here. And he says, I'm telling you right now, I'm not. And I welcome you to my place. And I'm glad you stopped and bought some gas from me. He pours me another shot. I said, I gotta get going here, pal. But he was the funniest guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
different parts of the country, yeah.
I'm telling you. He's just a hot ticket. I remember the damnedest things. Or, as my wife says, why do you even know that? I don't know. Things stick and, yeah, I don't know.
Well, when we watch Jeopardy, probably watch Jeopardy, right? So I get an answer. Well, how do you know that? Like, how do you, well, I don't know. Somewhere along the line, it was in my head, and I remembered. But the same thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I'm curious. If I find something that I don't understand or know, especially when I was working, man, I had to find out more about it.
What I'd like to find out is why you can send an email from here to China in like 30 seconds. What's the mechanism to do it? And I've asked people that know something about it, and they say, well, it's hard to say because it's got to go here, there. And then my son-in-law, he's got a graduate degree in mechanical engineering, he knows a little bit more about it. But he says the way it works is somebody gets something, whatever it is, how they develop it, and they get to a point, and that's it. They don't. And then the next guy comes along and says, "Wow, he got this far. Well, why don't we?" So it sort of piggybacks on itself. But still, nobody can tell me exactly how. If someone is listening and you want to send me an email or talk to Bill or someone, find out how that can go in like 30 seconds or less.
Those things are beyond us.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a technology guy,
No, neither am I. I'm a BS artist. I love beer, but I haven't indulged for well over 20 years. Doctor's orders. Miller High Life was my favorite. Good stuff. I like old cars. I'll tell you, I was out in Buffalo, New York, working with my distributor out there, Bill Ryan, great guy. And Bill said, well, it's a shame you have to go home. Thursday night we had dinner. And he says, shame you have to go home tomorrow. I said, why? Well, he said, this weekend is the Pierce Arrows return to Buffalo. That's what they were made in
really?
Buffalo.
I didn't know that. Yeah, wow.
And they were Pierce Arrow, Packard, and maybe one other manufacturer.
You mentioned Packard, right? When I was like 8, 9, 10 years old, my aunt had a Packard, and they had the rumble seat in the back.
Oh, yeah.
And we used to love to sit in the
Yeah.
rumble seat, and my aunt would drive wherever she was. Oh, that Packard was fantastic. But
Packards were always my favorite
Yeah,
car. They
yeah.
still are.
yeah,
I love looking at old Packards.
Yeah.
So I said to Billy, what's going to happen? Well, downtown Buffalo starts with a small circle, like a flag stand, and it goes circles around it. Like this.
Wow, good.
Road, little streets.
yeah,
So they're going to line up Packards, Pierce-Arrows in slots all around. And they had like 130
wow.
old Packards. Oh, were they beautiful.
Did they all have rumble seats or just certain?
No.
Yeah,
No, they had sedans.
Yeah, all different
They
types,
had touring cars.
wow.
But, oh, God, were they beautiful.
yeah. Wow.
When he explained it to me, I said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime deal.
Sure. Yeah.
My boss was brain dead. He wouldn't care if I stayed for 2 weeks out there, you know. No, so I stayed, and all day Saturday, I walked around looking at those.
Wow. Yeah.
And Bill had to go home,
Yeah. Wow.
and I said, just leave me here. One of the things is a story that it defies description, but this guy had a Packard. Keep calling it
Pierce-Arrow,
Packard, Pierce-Arrow. And it was so quiet you couldn't hear it run. So he was delighting people by taking a quarter and standing it up on the engine block, because it was a straight 8.
Yeah. Right.
Flat top, and there was no vibration. And this woman standing beside me, she said, what a fraud. She said, that cars don't work like that. She said, you don't believe that, do you? I said, no. I said, I looked underneath. He's got a sewing machine motor underneath to give a little bit of a noise to fool you. She said, I knew it, and she walked away. The guy was laughing like hell.
Oh, yeah.
He says, I deal with that all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Even though, I wrote this 5 years ago. And even though I am 79, I do not think of myself as elderly. Okay, boys and girls, I can tell you that ship has sailed. I'm almost 85 and I feel elderly.
Yeah. Well, I'm elderly from the neck down, but from the neck up, I still think I'm 25.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at that.
Here we go. I do, however, realize my time here on Earth is quickly running out, and I still have a lot of things I need to do. I love reading, and read 2 or 3 books a week, even more than that now. 2 newspapers a day, and several magazines a month. I have read one book, I would estimate 50 times.
Wow.
And the best book I've ever read is The Source by James Michener. Big book. Pick it up, you can't put it down.
He wrote adventure books, right? Michener?
No,
Or am I thinking of someone else? What did he write? What was
historical fiction.
Yeah,
fiction.
okay.
Yeah. I am an idea factory following through is my biggest problem.
The same
I
with me.
could always think of things.
Yeah. Oh, I can think of things, and like years ago before the, it had VCRs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they had the cameras. You take pictures and everything, and they had VCRs and that stuff. I says, why can't they take a picture from a camera, so you could see it on TV? And that came to fruition. And other things, but I don't know how to get there. I think of things and I say, well, this would be nice to do, but I have no idea how to do it.
At work, I used to see things, and especially when we worked at the Foxborough company. That was a big company. And I'd sit down, and my boss would say, because I'd be sitting there, and he'd watch me, and I wouldn't move for 2 days. And he'd say, "You're not working." I said, "This is working up here, pal."
Yeah.
I said, "You know what I'm thinking of?" And then I'd reel off something that he didn't understand. And he'd go, "Really?" I said, "Yeah," as he was a dope.
Yeah.
And he'd, "Oh, okay, we'll carry on," and then walk away.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of the people that developed a lot of this technology, for instance, the guy from Apple, what was his name? The guy who started it.
Yeah.
You know who I mean? Well, there was him, and there was his buddy, Wozniak was the buddy. Steve Jobs was the.
Yep.
He was the idea guy. He knew a little bit about how to do things, but he didn't know a lot. But he was the idea guy, and Wozniak he'd tell Wozniak, "Well, why can't we do this?" So Wozniak go and he'd develop it. So it took the idea guy and a technical guy to make Apple, and it worked pretty good. And I think in most cases you have a lot of combinations of, ideas and then ways to get those ideas into production, and that's how it works. They get idea people and people who can do the nuts and bolts to get it there.
Later on in my career at Foxborough, I had mouthed off about the way we do things is stupid. I won't go into what it was, and my boss said, "Really?" I says, "Yeah." I said, it's madness the way we shuffle paper around. I said, to get an order that comes in your inbox and get it over here to the guy that's going to make it takes 5 days. Why? Well, this guy's got to look at it. Engineering's got to look at it. Scheduling's got to look at it. So this is insanity. So anyway, I wrote a report about it. Well, Foxborough probably had 3,500, 4,000 people working there at the time. They passed my report all the way up to the president of the company, who called me and said, "We need to talk." He said, "You serious about this?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "Okay, so I'm going to put you in charge of an area, and you go ahead and do exactly what you say." And so I had guys that were way senior to me working for me. And I'd say, "This is how we're going to do it now." And they got mad. And I said, "Well, okay, I'm going to go get Colin Baxter. And if I have to call him out of a meeting to talk to you, he's going to be mad." "Oh, what's this again now? Explain it to me again." So anyway, to make a long story short, Mason Newland was another company that was sort of a friendly competitor in Norwood. And they talked a lot back and forth. And so they said, "Yeah, Bill has come up with a way to enter orders, schedule them, and ship them in 1 day." And the guy goes, "You gotta be kidding me." I said, "No. Will you let me come over and talk to Bill?" And so he came over, and I showed him what I did, and he goes, okay, would you come over to Mason Nealon and sit down with the people that are in the loop of doing exactly what you're doing? I said, sure. So I told him what I did, and they'd say, well, wait a minute, engineering has got to look at this order. I said, why? A sales engineer sold it out in Duluth, Minnesota, that's been working for us for 30 years. You don't think he knows what he's doing? And he's got it spec'd out, the whole code of what it is he wants. Why does engineering have to look at it? Well, they have to look at every order to make sure it's going to work. I said, it's insanity. So anyway, we had things like that. Well, they refused to do it, Mason Nealon, because it would put a lot of people out of work. Yeah, and we've done it this way for years and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. Okay. I have never met an Estonian.
I never have either.
No. I worry about how to act. I mean, what do you do with these guys?
Estonians?
Estonians,
The ones who come from Estonia?
Estonia, yeah.
Well, aren't they just like Latvia and Lithuania? And all
yeah.
that group?
Yeah, I married a Lithuanian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she should tell you how
She
to.
should tell me, yeah.
She would know that.
Do you know that Estonia only has 1.3 million people population?
Yeah. It's a small country, too,
Yeah.
isn't it? Very small, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm still nervous about it, regardless of what you say. The birth of my first son was the proudest moment in my life. The second son was a wild time, and the third son was old hat by then. I love flashlights. I'm buying them all the time. I must have at least 25 of them. Yet, I don't have a cell phone. Go figure that one out.
Well, I had a flip phone, right? An old-fashioned flip phone, because I'd only take it when I leave the house in case I broke down somewhere I could call, I need help.
Yep.
Or when I took a walk in case I tripped and I need the ambulance. Other than that, I never really had use for a phone. So about 4 years, when did 5G come in? About 2 or 3 years ago? Say 3 years ago, whatever. So now my flip phone wasn't going to be work anymore at the end of the year. And they says, well, it's not going to work, so you're going to have to update it. And we were with Verizon at the time, which we really didn't like. So we stopped at an Xfinity store, and I told them, this thing isn't going to work, and I don't want a phone that does everything. I just, I have a tablet at home. I like something big I can see. So they said, well, you're not going to be able to use it in a few moments, but your wife's going to update her phone and get a Samsung, and we'll give you a free Motorola. I said, oh, okay. So
in that
I
case.
got a free Motorola, which I still have, but I only use it again when I've got it right here now. If I leave and I got a flat tire and have to call AAA, I got it. Other than that, the tablet's all I need, because I like something big I can see instead of.
Yeah, I've got a small computer, a 14-inch screen. I paid $199 for it. It does everything I want it to do. That's all.
Yeah, that's the same with me.
I can look at the stock market. I can look at sports. I can see the scores. What else? And when doing research for stuff like this, for the show, I look at a lot of stuff.
My little tablet, I do the same thing.
Yeah. I like bowler hats like the Brits wear.
Bowler hats.
Yeah.
And what are those? The ones that...
Actually, this look like a half a pot on your head with a small brim around it. Look that up, bowlers.
B-O-L-E-R.
B-O-W-L-E-R. Bowler hats. You'll probably want to run right out and buy one.
If I can find one.
Yeah. Baby cows are really cool. I like baby cows.
Yeah.
My favorite candy bar is Snickers. My favorite ice cream flavor is chocolate.
Yeah, mine is too. I like chocolate. But when I was growing up, very little, up until about, say, 10 or 15 years ago, it was always strawberry.
Oh, really?
Then all of a sudden, I got an urge for chocolate, and I love chocolate now, so I'm a chocolate guy. But all my life, I was a strawberry guy. But
ice cream has replaced beer with me.
yeah, I like ice cream.
I love Buicks. Oh, they're great cars.
I own a second-hand one.
I got one with 130 or 140,000 miles on it. I always had Buicks for company cars.
Yeah.
And I'd run them and run them and run them. And I had one, and then I'd buy them from the company.
Yeah.
Because the boss would say, "You've got 130,000 miles on the car in 3 years. What are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
You know, blah, blah, blah. It's going to disintegrate. You go out and get another one this weekend or else."
Yeah.
You know, so.
I was always a Ford guy.
Yeah.
Because my father was a Ford
that's
guy.
it.
And
That's
I worked for Ford after school, after college. And my wife still got the Ford, and I got the one that I had, the Buick. And it's a 2004. It's got 87,000 miles on it. It's 2004.
And it's a beauty.
Beautiful car, just 13 miles a gallon. That's the only downfall. But I only come here to the post office, and maybe pay a bill at the town hall. But we use the other car, which has 130,000 on it. But that's a 2014. But I love Ford. You like Buicks? I like Fords.
Yeah. And
but this Buick is great. It's like a tank.
Big Mercury too.
Yeah, I remember those. I had a Mercury way back.
Yeah,
Sable. We had a Mercury Sable.
Yes. Yeah. I got a Grand Marquis.
Yeah.
That's 15 miles a gallon.
Yeah, I know. They didn't get much in those days.
The greatest invention of all times is the venerable L.L. Bean hunting boot.
Well, I don't hunt, so if
I've owned 2 of them in my lifetime.
Wow. They're still as good as you bought them, right?
Well, the first one died, but the second one is still cooking.
Yeah.
I collect old Hardy Boy books.
Old Hardy Boy books, yeah.
You don't read.
Yeah, I don't read.
My favorite soft drink is Diet Pepsi. The rest of them taste like soap suds.
Yeah, I don't really drink soft drinks. I really never, maybe when I was a kid I drink, but we have, what we have with dinner each night is cider. Mm-hmm. We buy cider and that's good for you. And soft drinks, they're very short. Well, if you get diet, you're all right. But I just sort of lost an appeal way back, maybe 30 years ago. And so cider's good. I love cider.
You know what? I buy apple juice.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. I put ketchup on my scrambled eggs and omelets. No. Some people consider this strange.
No, don't worry about it. Yeah.
Had people criticize me for that.
All right. I do crazy things with condiments myself.
Yeah.
My wife even.
I also like grits.
Well, I've had them maybe once or twice when I visited a neighbor who had moved down to Myrtle Beach.
Oh, yeah.
And we went out there, and I mean, they're all right. I never really had much of them, maybe twice in my life.
I have milk with every meal.
Well,
the great big glass.
Even dinner?
Dinner,
oh,
absolutely.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. I have never found Bob Hope, Jackie Gleason, or Red Skelton to be funny. I never laughed at one thing any one of the 3 of them did. I like Canadians a lot. They are great people, and they have a saying up there: God hates people that lie to Canadians. When you tell a Canadian that, God hates people that lie to Canadians.
Wow, I'll remember that, yeah.
I have always followed the stock market closely and always handled my own investing.
Yep, I did the same thing. I bought my first stock when I was 20 years old.
Yep.
And I was interested before then. And I was always interested because you could buy something, call up on the phone, buy something. 2 weeks later, you call up on the phone and sell it.
Yeah.
You know, my first one was RCA. I bought 2 shares. They were $55 a share. It was $110. And I just held on to them. And they went up and they split and then they got bought out. And that was a lot of money. It was only 2 shares. But I said, geez, this is easy. So I started speculating, and it wasn't as easy as I thought it was.
You got your clock cleaned,
Yeah,
huh?
I did, but it was a good experience. Now I do like Berkshire Hathaway. I buy good stuff and hold them.
Man, you're singing my song now, buddy. My son decided that he wanted to do. He has a 401k and he's got some other investment. But he said, tell me about mutual funds, Dad, and stocks and everything. So I told him, I said, buy Berkshire Hathaway, buy J.P. Morgan Chase, buy Boeing, buy one other. I said, and just hold them.
Yeah.
And when you get some more money,
Buy some more.
I'll talk about,
Yeah.
we'll
Other
either
ones.
add to these or,
Yeah, right.
so,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, and the Fidelity Contra Fund.
Yeah, yeah. That's,
I've owned that for about 200 years.
yeah.
Andrew's going to give us a sign here in a moment. I enjoy horse race tracks and investing a few bob from time to time.
Well, I've been to. I used to go to the one in Foxborough.
Yep.
That a
Me
few
too.
times. I mean, I wasn't hooked on it, but I'd go and have a night out. You know, it's
Yeah.
like going out at night. And I used to go to that restaurant right next to it. I forget the name of it. It was a nice restaurant right next to it in Foxborough. I forget the name. You had to drive up a little driveway. Big. It was a beautiful restaurant right next to where the track was. And I took my wife there for a date and took her to hospital, to watch the horses. It was nice.
Yeah. Well, we're getting the sign, folks, that we have used up our time here. So we'll take a break and we'll carry on in a bit. And this is an excellent time for you folks to hit the powder room or to get a couple of more cans of Budweiser or do whatever you do for a break.
Sounds like an idea.
Yeah.